Thank you for visiting Past the Wire TV, the YouTube channel of PastTheWire.com.
All right, welcome back to Past the Wire TV. I am Jim Gazzale alongside Kevin Gazzale, back for another week, going through a pick five sequence. Kev, thanks for joining us once again.
Got to be better. We're going to be better this week.
It was almost, pretty impressive. What did we end up going last week? Like 2 for 5?
Yes.
1 for 5. We were 0 for 3.
4 and like 5. And we went 4 deep in a race, including a horse we own was the favorite and won. But this week is where we set the tone.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay, location of one of our worst beats of all time, 2 years back in the Tampa Bay Derby. But
I remember that.
Fresh slate this week. Fresh slate.
Yeah. All right, so let's not waste too much more time. Let's just dive right in. We'll kick it off. Race number 7. They are going 6 furlongs in a $50,000 stake race here. I know we landed on a few, and we'll show the ticket at the end. But which ones kind of stuck out to you here, Kev?
It stinks kind of settling on like second and third choice, and then going a little bit down. But I thought Dream Concert, the 1, and Unifying were pretty strong in here. Chi-Town Lady, the favorite, the 2. It's just too long of a layoff for me. Good late runner, but I don't think there's going to be much of a huge pace to run into, and this horse may just need a race to get back ready running at its top form. So that's why I think it might show a little value here, trying to go a little bit deeper. So I was looking at the 1, Dream Concert, 3, Unifying, and then 2 longer prices, Bazinga C, the 6, and Flag Woman, the 7. Both kind of jumped out on pace figures and good trainers and jockey combos for such long prices in this race.
Yeah. I know I texted you last night that Safi Joseph seems to do well shipping in from Gulfstream to Tampa. So I think any horse that he has running at Tampa on Saturday needs to be respected. Just a couple of others, obviously we can't include every single horse on our ticket. So we did have to cut in a few spots. I agree with what you said about Chi-Town Lady. Just having my notes here, just a total toss for me, especially at that price. So hopefully we don't have to contend with her. But this 8 I thought was a little interesting, even though we trimmed the ticket and we didn't include her. But this Poema, I thought she had a little bit of a tough start last time out at Tampa. She broke from the 4 spot in the gate, and the 3 horse basically just took a hard right turn right into her and pretty much pushed her 2 or 3 paths out, and probably effectively ruined any chance that she had in that race, which she went off at nearly even money. The other one that again we didn't include, but I thought was interesting, was this 5, Dreaming of Snow. Just seems to really like Tampa. So just 2 others that, if anybody else is building their tickets, and perhaps you like them better than where we settled, worth considering.
All right.
So then the next race, race 8, another $100,000 stake race, 6 furlongs for the boys. This time, Again, I think we landed on a couple in here. We went with the 1, 4, 5, and 7. So I know this Hurricane J was one that I liked. Should be forwardly placed here, and I think should be able to have the run of it. This Amo Racing kind of springs every once in a while and gets a good runner, especially down in Florida. So that's what stuck out to me. Third start for Delgado too. I think also has to be respected.
Yeah, I thought. I mean, I texted you when we were first looking this over that Nakatomi looked strong in here, but off this layoff, and there's a couple others in here that you could kind of hope for or project that they can, kind of bounce up in the figs. Super Ocho, the 4, you're hoping to make the jump. Mish, the 5, hoping he can kind of get back to the form of last summer. And because they Nakatomi's figures tower over this field, he's going to be short, like probably 1-to-1 or 3-to-5. So just think there's a lot of other prices in here that you can kind of take a shot on and hope Nakatomi, is just coming off this layoff a little cold.
Yeah, this Super Ocho was interesting to me too. Just seems like once he came back from Dubai, which was a fine effort, but typically you need a little bit of time to kind of get reacclimated back in the States, and it just seems like since that break last year, when he came back in October. Ran in October, November, December pretty consistently. We're seeing improving figures. Now, of course, this horse is turning 7 years old. So, we don't know what that 6-year-old season to 7-year-old season is going to look like. But to see those improvements in the fall going into the winter, I think he's worth an extra look, especially like you said, because Nakatomi is going to get bet pretty hard, just given the figures really jump off the page compared to everybody else. And then we had the 7, right? This
Yes, Sibelius. He beat Gilmore last time out at the end of the year at Gulfstream, who's a strong horse. Ran a tough race, the Phoenix at Keeneland. Ran a respectable 5th, a good number, kind of a slower late pace fig, but there was kind of a little bit of a quicker pace. I just think he might be able to kind of sit off a little bit of a pace duel up top and kind of try and rate and outrun Nakatomi here. But that's he just has the figures. Same thing. I mean, he ran a 102 back in around this time last year at Tampa. Just actually in this race, ran a 102 and won. And that's a number good enough to win this race. So I think you run him back here.
Yeah. I think really our main goal, obviously, is in that second leg is to just beat Nakatomi. We feel like it's going to be a short priced favorite that off that long layoff. You either single it, I guess, or try and beat him, and we'll try our best to beat him. All right, race 9. Here's where we landed on a single. This going through the PPs here. This Stenson Statins, just the name of that horse is like doesn't inspire help. I guess.
Yeah. It's like a cyber knife. You get a prostate surgery machine, and then you get. I would assume this owner likely either almost had a heart attack, or has been told he's pretty close to having a heart attack. But yeah, I went with the other Chad, which is always a scary thing to do,
Yeah.
to not have all the Chads in the turf race at Tampa. But yeah, we settled on the 9. I'll just talk. I went through the formulator earlier, and Chad Brown, what did I say? 45% win rate with first-time starters on turf at Tampa, which is pretty impressive. And not that in the money would matter at this point, but these horses run top 3 85% of the time as well, which is impressive. And I mean, there are others in here. The 5, Bell of Rights, 6, Our Prayer, 2 firsters for Shug McGahee and Grand Motion. I don't know what it is. Shug McGahee, according to Brisnet, says 13% debut turf runners. I don't believe that. Every time I have a Shug McGahee horse on debut that gets bet, he loses. So that's part of the reason why I felt like you just got to kind of, put your flag in the ground and say Gaffleone, Chad, Tampa in the late winter, early spring. This horse is going to be bet and probably be favored. And I think it's just something you take a stand on.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. There were a couple others that, I thought could move up that this Gossiper off that last effort.
Yeah.
For Bill Mott, first time LASIK, Junior Alvarado, who's picked up a few mounts for Bill Mott at Tampa on Saturday. So, always good when those two team up. So I think that this Gossiper has a decent shot here, but again, we can't include them all. Chad has good numbers. First time starters on turf at Tampa. They paid $481,000 for this horse.
That's
riding. So I think this is where we're, like you said, gonna put our flag in the ground and hope for the best.
And that's where I kind of look at stuff like things like this. Like Gossiper ran a 75 on debut. You could, expect if he makes a nice jump in his 3-year-old season, run an 85. You would expect that Chad Brown and Clarevich Stables is expecting a horse that they paid almost $500,000 for to run faster than an 85 on debut. So that's one of those things where I'm kind of hoping here that even if the 8 does take a jump in his 3-year-old season, that the 9 is just a better horse at this stage.
Yeah, because it seems like an 85 or even an 80 would be good enough to win this race. All right, the 10th race is the Sam Davis Kentucky Derby prep race. We had a couple in here. If you want a deep dive into each horse in this race, there's a video up on the Past the Wire YouTube page right now. John and I went through each horse in this race in great detail. So if you're looking for, anything outside of a pick 5 ticket, I'd encourage you to go watch that video. It's up there right now. A couple of Todds in here, and a couple of lightly raced horses that I think could spring up and get the upset. What did you think, Kev?
Yeah, I thought, where is it? The 9 and you assume that this Agate Road, the 6, is going to take some money. I just think the Agate Road is a turf horse, and I don't really know why this horse is being entered in here. And Change of Command, obviously coming off 2 wins, but not really showing to me like those jumps and pace figures that you want to see as this horse progresses into its 3-year-old year. Basically just thinking this horse could be vulnerable and is likely going to be a short price, probably first or second choice.
Yeah.
Most likely first choice. So that's why, we settled, what did we say? 3, 4, 5,
7-12.
7-12, right? Yeah, I mean, I like the Legion Meadows horse, 2 for 2 at Aqueduct. Alvarado Mott is always a combination that I like, and this horse, it's working well, pretty consistently over the off season, and it looked like a horse to me at a pretty big price that could make a jump into some fast speed figures and hopefully contend in this race. And then the one I really liked the most probably in here was Copper Tax.
Mhm.
Uh, had one try at a route, the mile and the eighth, but it was a muddy track and the Remsen kind of got banged around a little bit. But if you go back to his races at Laurel and Delaware, um, those pace figures fit here. And like I said, he's going to be 5-1, but it's a Capuano low graded stakes percentage. He could float up, hopefully in that 6-7-1 range, and would be a good number to have in the fourth leg of this pick five.
Yeah, I would imagine that horse probably drifts up. Change of command is going to take money. Agate Road certainly gonna take money. Even perhaps that this two tireless, the other Todd
Mm-hmm.
Pletcher in there for the same, pretty much the same connections. Could probably take some money too, and we're trying to beat them both. Which I don't have the stats in front of me, but it just seems like Todd Pletcher wins this race every year. So we might be running into a bit of a buzzsaw, but again, we're taking a stand, and like you said, Kevin, you feel like Agate Road is a turf horse, and a little bit confused as to why they're putting him in here.
Yeah, it's just puzzling, but maybe they're just trying to get him a start, and they'll run him back at Gulfstream or bring him back for the Fountain of Youth, something like that. It's confusing, but we'll see. Maybe they know something we don't know.
All right, on to the 11th. We went with two horses in here. The one, Serious Light, and the 6, Apropos. I know you were pretty high on this 6 horse. What did you like?
Yeah, so I mean, breeding wise, he can. The Mendelssohns, they like turf or dirt, but I think the significant jump in his workout times when they started working him out on the turf and really running him on the turf in his workouts is what stood out to me. And he already has good speed figures on dirt. You get Jose Ortiz here, who's one of the better turf jockeys in the country. I just think at 5-1, this is a horse against not really great quality horses. Everyone's kind of there's the favorite, the Chad Brown royalty interest, this horse, and a bunch of others. So I think kind of take a shot here with a horse who, from all indications, loves the turf and gets a good jockey here, and hopefully can stalk this pace a little bit and pounce in the stretch.
Yeah, I agree. I think this this Chad horse, the 3, royalty interest, is probably going to take a fair bit of money here, and we'll see. We're going to try and get them out of here and make some money, but like I've been saying, you can't include them all, and
Mm-hmm.
Really, if you're beating a couple of favorites in a sequence, you're more often than not, you're going to get paid.
Yeah. And I mean, the royalty interest, he ran really well on debut at Tampa. We're kind of hoping our single earlier in the sequence runs on debut the way royalty interest did last year. But then he came out, ran in the Pennsylvania Oaks or the Penn Oaks, and just I don't know if it was an injury, something like that, but the horse was just totally empty around the turn, and then they worked him out a couple more times later that summer, and then kind of just shut it down for the rest of the year. It's been working pretty consistently since December, but you're just kind of hoping, horse is a little bit, cold coming off the bench like that, and it's just interesting that like Jose Ortiz doesn't pick up this mount.
Right.
And usually that's like a Ortiz, Chad Brown, Claridge Stables is, a pretty good trifecta there, but he ends up elsewhere, and hopefully, it's an indicator that we're on to something.
This one, 15-1 on the morning line, coming out of a maiden. What did you like about this one to include him?
So good speed figures, and coming off a win, and everything about her breeding says that she should, be able to go from 5 furlongs to the mile, and still, have the stamina to hang on here. So, and they worked her out a couple times after her win in December, and I just liked her breeding and the price, and like looking at it, an 88, I believe, is the highest speed figure in the field.
Yeah.
So that's just, and she's so lightly raced. I think it's something that she can, kind of improve on.
Yeah. We also liked, and we didn't include her, but the 7 was a strong consideration as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Similar thing. Decent speed figure, second off a trainer switch, second off a layoff. Good breeding, good workouts. I just think it was, she's previously posted some, 83 prior to the trainer switch. And then it came back with a 78, ran fourth, and just kind of hopes with a little bit more seasoning, a little bit more works, this horse can, make a jump into the mid 80s or high 80s at this distance. Because if you're not using the 3, the favorite, then there's a ton in here you can make cases for. Like the 8, Embrace Me, was another horse that I looked at and we looked at, but going from, cutting all the way back from a mile and 3/8, mile and a quarter, all the way back to a mile, just didn't seem like that's exactly what the horse wants to do. But so that's why we kind of end, just to make this, somewhat of an affordable ticket. You just kind of got to make a stand with just going with 2 in here.
Yeah. All right, let's take a quick timeout, and we'll come back and we'll show everybody the ticket that we put together. All right. So here's where we landed. An $80 ticket. Kind of tight, obviously, in that third leg, and just too deep in the finale. Like we've been saying, it gets challenging to include all of the horses that you want, and you need to cut somewhere and press your opinions. And this is where we landed to kind of get back in the win column after a disastrous start last.
Yeah, to say the least.
So just explain a little bit about the ticket construction here, and just, we don't have to go back through each horse, but just your thought process, and how if you've got 6 horses, how do you cut it down to 5 or 4 or 3?
Yeah, for me, I'm a big fan of late pace figures. So I want horses that are going to be running strong late. And but if I'm having a horse running up front who has similar late pace figures to a horse that's running late, I'm always going to lean on those front runners. There's nothing worse than getting a horse that gets just hung up behind a wall of horses and can't get through, and it's full of run. So I always tend to lean more towards front runners. So if I have two horses that are comparable to me, I'm going to pick the front runner or the horse that's going to be closer to the pace, who I think can hang on. I also, if I don't like the favorite, unless, some rare circumstances, then I'm dropping the favorite. So if I have a grouping of 6 horses and one of them is the favorite, but I have 5 others that I think have a shot, then the favorite I'm just going to hope that the favorite runs out and doesn't run well. And that's pretty much kind of my philosophy on, and I think I kind of always try to give horses the benefit of the doubt in terms of making jumps. So whether they have a trainer switch or they're working out well or they're coming like second off a layoff, I'm going to try and hope that some of those horses can run back to form that they've had, 6 months to a year ago, in hopes that they're finally finding their stride and find those horses that have been running slow lately but have the ability to kind of pop one at a good price.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, 4 by 4 by 1 by 5 by 2 for $80. And we'll see if we could do better than last week.
Do we have time for the golden hour?
Yeah. I didn't make a graphic for it though, but
that's fine. That's fine. So we're 0 for 2. This is weekend number 2 of the golden hour. We had 2 plays last weekend. Both went belly up. But so this week we have just one tomorrow night. So we're 0 for 2 and we're going to get back in the green. So leg 1, what race is this? The 9th race at Santa Anita. We're going to go 1, 4, 9, 11 in the first leg, Santa Anita. Second leg, which is actually the El Camino Real Derby at Golden Gate, endlessly makes its return to the track from the juvenile turf last year. It gets my favorite turf rider in the entire country, Umberto Rispoli, up. So we're going to single the 6 endlessly. And then the last leg, Hillside Turf, 6.5 furlongs, my favorite race in all of racing. We're going to go 1, 6, 9 in there. Hoping for a good ride from Kimura there. He always loves riding the turf, that downhill turf. And then in the last, we're going to go 2, 4, 7, 8 with a couple prices. And hopefully we can get the 7 Jerry Jeff Walker out on the front. He could turn it into a merry-go-round for us. But Jim's posted up there, $48 ticket. Hopefully we can get a winner in here, root for endlessly, and come home a winner.
Nice. All right. Any last parting thoughts before we sail off into the weekend?
No, hopefully it's a big weekend for Chad with his maidens, not with his horses returning from layoffs.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, good luck if you're playing. And as always, tons of great articles, insights, picks, plays on PassTheWire.com. Check out the site. Check out the YouTube. Any questions, comments, drop them below the video. And we'll be back next week with more Pick 5 plays from around the country.
Peace.